All right, welcome back, everybody. I hope you guys enjoy this video. Here's a top 8 from Tournament 26. I cannot wait to watch this with you guys. Yeah, I watch all these with you, so my commentary is not pre-done. I basically pause the video right before the first card is played. I know the decks that are played and I know the people, but I do not know the games. It makes it more realistic and fun for me. So I pretty much watch it for the first time with you guys. So I hope you guys enjoy these. But first, we're going to do the Four Horsemen intro.
Greetings, old school magic blades, and welcome to the Four Horsemen.
All right, so we have Chris on the left and Tim on the right. This is Tim's deck. I'm going to leave this deck picture up here for a minute so you can kind of see what's going on here. Gotta love the little ogres, the 2/2 1-drops. They are fun, especially if you run and burn, which you have to be ahead of the game here. If you lose track of life, you're basically killing yourself with them. So you got to be very careful with that. But they work very well with bloodlusts. Yeah, 6 damage, turn 2. Fun with that one, isn't it? So yeah, you got to watch out for those little guys. They're a little more dangerous. There's some fun cards in here. I absolutely love this deck. This is so cool. So I can't wait to see how this deck does. This is Chris's deck. Dude, this deck always, I've seen him mess around with this version a little bit last couple times, I believe, but this is like soft spot in my heart because I love the Dijin. That 5/6 flyer is like, I don't know. I just always thought that was the best card ever because you get a good hand and you drop one of those things on, say, turn 3 and you have a land tax or something like that, like he does, and you can pull all your non-islands out and just sack them. The game's over before anything even happened if they don't have an answer. So this deck's a lot of fun, and you cannot downgrade the unstable mutations with flying men. There's boomerangs. If you end up going first and you get double white, you can start sending your opponent's lands back to their hand on your end step to basically, it's almost like a time walk. So you can get, if you have 2 of those in hand and you go first, you can basically set your opponent back 2 land drops. Watch what happens in that game. So no idea how they're going to play this one yet. Like I said, I watched these live with you guys. But awesome decks. Absolutely love them. And let's see how it goes. All right, so we got a mulligan, it looks like. But that's actually probably what he wanted because he's on land. He has land tax. So if you see someone do that, they're rolling right for land tax. Oop, there's a Penelhaven to an Asp. Oh, I love those things. They give a little bit of bite that keeps on giving. All right, I didn't realize Chris had those sleeves. Those have to be the coolest sleeves I've ever seen in my life. Beautiful city. Yep, I figured. Land tax. Now see, Chris has to find an answer because that thing will do some serious damage. Because Tim does not have to play land. I usually hold off on land tax until my opponent already has one. So when they're ahead of the game, it makes it look like I missed a land drop. They play a land drop, they usually tap out. I play a land tax, and that's usually where it rolls. That way I can get lands out. It's almost like playing a Maze of Ith before your opponent has a creature. It's actually a disadvantage for you, even though you're the one with it. because your opponent can now plan to play around it. But what they don't know is going to hurt them. That's the game of chess I always refer to with Magic. A lot of guys don't understand when I say Magic is chess. It has a lot to do with it. Oh man. All right, we're going to Spirit Link that little guy. Yep, because see, he can't block it because the Penalhaven. See, but now Chris has 2 lands out, so right now he can drop a mountain or, yep, there you go. Drop his red and white source, so he is good to go. Now he can drop, oh, he's chaining. That's a good call. Unstable mutations are a real thing. I think he forgot he has a Spirit Link. Still going to do the damage regardless. Oh. You know what? I guess I'd have to check the wording on that, but if I understood that blurb real quick, that extra damage will go through. We'll find out in a second here, but I don't think it actually says, now that I think about it. Yeah. Yep, it must be the wording. I think your opponent takes damage. It doesn't actually specify. Asp will do 1 damage to your opponent if. So depending on the wording, you're right. That's actually a cool little trick I never thought of, especially in this format. Let's see here. Yeah, there's another island. So that's going to let Tim put another one out now. Island and pass. He might, you know what? He must be saving up for something big. I mean, because Tim doesn't play blue. He does have, I believe that's a plateau. So if I remember right, he has white. So that's the only problem with Dijin is if your opponent Spirit Links it, you got to have a way to get rid of it. That's what boomerangs and Diamond Valleys and stuff like that are good for. One card I always wanted to mess around with Dijin is Cry Shield. So if I can get Diamond Valley, I can Cry Shield my own 5/6 and basically gain 10 life. So if the thing's Spirit Linked or anything like that, or I need to get rid of it, I can just Cry Shield it, sack it to my Valley, and gain 10 life. Because Cry Shield is for 2 mana on your opponent's end stat. Basically, you add the toughness to, or add the casting cost to the toughness, which is 4, so is 10. So basically it becomes a 5/10 on your opponent's end step. You sack it to Diamond Valley and you gain 10 life. One card pretty much shut down the burn. Looks like we're looking up some rules here. So I'm going to pause this here for you guys. All right, had to take a couple breaks there, but basically to explain a ruling clearer for you guys, Spirit Link is based on damage. The Asp's ability is not damage. It's strictly listed as loss of life. You're going to lose that life unless you pay. So Spirit Link is not going to help you because it's not damage. it's strictly loss of life according to the rules from Magic the Gathering. So it will get around Spirit Link on that end. My kid is a little crazy town in the background. So if you hear him, he is jumping all over behind me. All right, so it looks like we boomeranged. So we could use a land tax. It is a loss of a boomerang, which is core, but it is a cool little trick if you want to get your land tax online. The only challenge at this rate, your opponent already has 3 lands. And I'm pretty sure that's just about everything in his deck. What do we got here? Holy moly. Alright, so we did a land tax, but we got off of it. At least we're off of City of Brass. So in that sense, it was definitely worth it. But he's still got to worry about that Asp. The Asp is... It's still going to cause triggers on him. Oh, there's a Kurt 8. Oh, and a Dervish. Oh boy. Well, the one thing about this format, it does not have a balance. There's a temporary cushion, but he definitely needs blockers out. He needs a way to stop those creatures. Well, there's a 5/6 flyer death machine. Puts him on a short clock. Yeah, you might be thinking, oh my god, this is bad, but no, it's not. If you paid attention to the actual deck, you'll know that you sacrifice lands. Well, my opponent has 3, right? So as long as Chris doesn't play 3 islands, he's good. So he basically has unlimited turns with that guy out, and it doesn't really affect him because of land tax. It'll set him back basically to a 3 land per turn. Worst case scenario. Oh man, another City of Brass. Holy crap, that hurts. We need a forest, because that's just a 1/1 right now. Well, that's an interesting play. Boy, that's Brothers of Fire. That's pretty cool. But, ouch. I mean, 2 Cities of Brass, though. That's going to hurt quick. Okay, there goes the food. The big brother dib is fed. Oh, we played a 3rd island. Okay. Oh, that's why. Oh, man. Well, that's going to hurt. Big brother just took a bunch of steroids. There's a shot for 8. Oh, man, and little brother's out. Oh, man. Okay, well, Chris was in trouble, and now it's a very short clock. I don't know what Tim's going to pull out of his magic hat, but how much damage does he have on board if Chris doesn't block? 1, 2, 3. I think that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He can do 9 damage if he has a Bloodlust. 13 if he has 2. I don't think he has it. Unless he has another Penalhaven in hand. But he can't get rid of both, even if it blocks the Dib blocks. And he Bloodlusts and kills the Dib. He's still dead to the Jhin. Big Brother on steroids is going to eat him alive. Tim might be roid bait here. This is why I main deck Spirit Links. Sometimes it doesn't save your life, but it would give Chris a lot of life. But it would at least stop him from killing me. Because, I mean, Chris could Spirit Link himself. So if Chris Spirit Links it, I Spirit Link it. Chris would gain a bunch of life, but if he doesn't have a Spirit Link and I play a Spirit Link, then he's the one with all the loss. Looks like we have an Alpha Strike going on. I mean, he doesn't need his Dib. But Chris is tapped out, so that tells you he didn't have a counterspell in hand. So if Tim can get around this turn, he knows Chris doesn't have a counterspell. Because if Chris had a counterspell, me personally, I would not have played the Dib. Because I would have kept my protection up, because you know he's going to die to the Big Brother. And that's only a 1/1, so looks like he's pumping the protection from black up. You know he has a Bloodlust in hand. But even if he has 2, it's still not enough to kill him, but it is enough to do some serious damage. Looks like we killed the Kurt Ape. No Bloodlusts. Doesn't really matter which way he does this here, because he's outlanded anyway, so. Yep, there's the definite nail in the coffin. All right, so let's go on to game number 2. That was awesome. All right, so it looks like we're back here. Looks like we had a mulligan. Let's see if what I'm gonna call Dib with Roids. I know that's not the name of the deck, but that's what I'm gonna call it. Dib with Roids. And we got a quick perfect opener for that. So I get to a Curd Ape, and yeah, well, that's one thing you don't want to see happen, even though it's only a one-off. Start off with a Ivory Tower. Now, if I was Tim, I would not be playing another land. I would just keep attacking for 2 at the moment and try and get more 1-drops. But I would not play land. Don't do it. Well, maybe he has some crumbles in there to answer some threats, but that's awful chancy. Because basically, if Chris has a land tax in hand, he has Tax Tower activated, and that's a lot of damage you got to get around every turn. So instead of doing 2 active damage, you basically have to attack with your factory and your Curd Ape just to do 1, if you're lucky. Yep. I didn't know that was in his hand. Like I said, I watched this live with you guys, so that's just what I saw coming. Again, I really think the overrated card is land tax. This format does not have draw engines. It has a lot of replacement engines, but not a lot of draw engines. It's very, very, very hard to draw extra cards without serious consequences. So land tax is a draw 3. I'd rather see multiple towers than only a single land tax. All right, well, there's a Penalhaven. That's something, I guess. Here we go. We got to start dishing these creatures out. We got to get around this land tax. That's one way to do it. Now, if he has some bloodlusts, see, he has a. Right now, he's on a quick clock, so depending on what those top cards are, he can do some serious death. So we know he's gonna tax every single turn. So he's gonna tax first, and then he's gonna gain his life. So he's gonna sit at 1 land less than Tim every single turn. But again, I wouldn't have played that land. I would have been riding as much as possible to try and get my 1-drops out. The most, I think I might have. You kind of have to play around Tax Tower. But we'll see if I was right or wrong here. Tim does have bloodlusts. He can get ahead of the curve here, but see, with Tim having 3 lands down, that allows Chris to get to 3. What does that mean? When he has land tax out, he can play his big brother, put some steroids on him, and pretty much forever be... Oh, we're discarding a boomerang. Okay. I would have kept that for the same game. I would have played one of those big Djinns and boomeranged one of the lands back to my hand. And then kept Tax Tower online while staying below the land count of my opponent. But I'm not an expert at Chris's deck. I'm just saying what I think here. But let's see here. He's at 22 right now. He has 7 cards in hand. He's going to have 10 cards in hand next turn. So Tim can do 2. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I believe Tim has 7 damage on board at the moment. But that, I think that's only a net damage of 1, if I'm not mistaken. So let's see if I'm right here. He'll lose the 2 dice, go down a little bit. But if I'm not mistaken, on Chris's turn, he's going to go back to 20 anyway. So all that damage was only 1 point. Now, Chris could do things with Dib, little brother, so you don't have to get big brother out. What you can do with 2 lands is you play your 3rd land, put your Dib out. Your untap phase, you untap. Response to everything going off, you send your island back to your hand, leaving you with 2 lands on the table. You have your Dib in play. Your land tax still procs. So you still get to do your land tax tower thing. You might lose 1 turn having massive life at the worst case scenario, but you have a Dib out. You have Spirit Links in your deck, so you can Spirit Link your own Dib, and not only do you have Tax Tower online, but now you got Dib Link online, which is basically anti-aggro and anti-burn. Yep, there's Dib. Now he already discarded a Boomerang, but the way he's playing, I feel like he has another one in hand, or he already has all of his basics. But I do not believe he does. Alright, so Tim has to now deal with a Dib. I mean, he could draw. I mean, he's already going to be out of lands, so he's already ahead. Chris is never going to catch up on lands on purpose. So if he drops another land, he's already in the hole. But at least he can do a Pyroblast or Pyrotechnics or something and kill the Dib before it gets a link or something on it and a couple unstables. Because if he's not going to play the Boomerang Dib Link game, he could have 2 unstables and double unstable mutation to Dib. Yep. It really does feel like I watched this game already, but now, even though I didn't, I wish I knew what was in Chris's hands. So maybe we'll see another creature come out and we'll see those cards. But I'm really wondering if he has... He doesn't need a Boomerang at all now, but... One thing Tim can do at this point, but it's a little too late, is he could strip his own land. But it's a little too late in the game for that. At this point, you're all in. I was expecting an early crumble or something. and he was up to 20. That's what I was wondering. All that damage last turn was only actually 1. Now we have 4, so we can play Big Brother if he has it. Or Little Brother. Oh, looks like Little Brother. Yep, he doesn't have a Spirit Link, or else he would have tapped different. So I know he doesn't have a Link in hand. Unless he made a play error. Alright, let's see what we got for the top 3 cards here. Well, it wasn't an instant pull, so you know it's not other Pyrotechnics. But we could have a Bloodlust. But see, if I was Chris, I wouldn't block anyway, because you know you're only going to lose 1 life. So it's going to take him 19 more turns to kill you at the open board that Tim has. That's a perfect answer right there. Maze of Ith. Now we're not going to see a lot of unstables and instant death, so good pull there, Tim. We have a Bloodlust in hand. Because you know he's not going to lose any life. If I was Chris, I wouldn't even block. It's not worth it. Nope, no Bloodlust. He's using his maze. I'm shocked that I would have kept the maze for the dib. Because he's gonna... I mean, I'm assuming he's probably going to pull some more lands out, and he's going to go back. Yeah, so he didn't strip anything of his own, so... Oh, that's why he only had 1 land left. Yep, so the life engine is finally getting offline. I'm still going to have a huge boost. Yep, 18. I was close. I thought 19, but... There's the damage from the dib. But I really expect... Now that especially the maze is tapped, I expect unstable mutations to come flying out. So I'm assuming we're going to have another land drop. A factory, that's even scarier. But I'm expecting unstable mutations and a... Oh no, I really expect that unstable mutations. because this is his free swing. Because you know the maze is going to be untapped next turn. 2/4 flyer. I'm surprised he doesn't have unstables. Yep. You know those are coming in from sideboard on a red deck. That's exactly what I would destroy. Leave the dib. Dib's only going to hit him once. Tim's going to take this game. Yep, there goes the factory. Now, as long as you don't see, his dib is tapped, so now he has an open swing. I'm guessing he just grabbed the Bloodlust. So this might be it. That's 2, 4, 6, 7. Yep. 13, if I'm not mistaken. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, wow, look at that, 5 life. It's actually 4 life. And he has a maze untapped. So now Chris can't get in with anything. Well, he only grabbed 1 land last time. I thought it would be out of basics. No, I guess he's not. Maybe he's out of basics now. So he is back up to 10. There we go, I was going to say. All right. Assuming Spirit Link, yep. At least it'll gate the dib loss. It's not going to do any damage, but this is where, well, I don't think he's going to survive. But that's a good card, but I highly doubt it's going to stay alive. You know he has 4 Chain Lightnings, and he hasn't used any, and he has active Volcanoes. So that's not going to stick around. I mean, unless by some miracle that he doesn't have a Pyrotechnics or a Chain or an active Volcano. If he had one, I figured he would have grabbed it right away, unless he's considering more cards. That's what he's doing right now. He's counting up his damage, so he must have Bloodlust. Because remember, Bloodlust is not just offensive, it's a very good kill spell. A 1/1 first striker could kill a 5/5 Jubzam. You just Bloodlust their creature instead. Alright, so I didn't see a fast Chain Lightning, so or even pyrotechnics or anything. So I'm assuming that he does not have any direct damage. It's got to be a bloodlust or something. Now, see, the thing that Chris could have is if Tim taps out for an alpha strike and Chris survives it. Oh, okay, it is a chain lightning. Okay, I figured that would have came out a while ago, but now if I was Tim at this point, I probably would not attack this round. Because he has a Spirit Link on his dip. So you're just going to give him more and more life by attacking. So there's no way. I mean, you could, whatever he blocks, you can untap, but then you're taking dip damage next turn. So I would just pass right here if I was Tim. I mean, if you guys want to have any other comments on here, please comment up and tell me what you think, but I would definitely just pass. To me, that's my instant no-brainer reaction. The math is not on Tim's favor at the moment. But I think in 2 turns, the math will be on his favor. I really feel like Tim's taking this game. Unless Chris pulls out like a Felden's Cane or something. That's a good boy, Pat Pat. All right. Here we go. We got a big brother. Yep. There's the maze. Tim needs another active volcano here. I mean, the one thing Tim could have going, if he has, say, 2 active volcanoes, he could wipe out both of Chris's threats and start alpha striking right through the damage and killing him. I would almost kill the dib. Let him keep sacking lands because he knows he doesn't have that many basics left that he can sacrifice, but because the Maze of Ith, the big guy can't do anything. So, oh, big guy. No? Okay. I would have done it on the big guy. Because, like I said, if he kills the dib, the only creature he has left is the big dude to sacrifice lands, and you have a Maze of Ith out. So, yep. Yep, that's what I was afraid of. Oh, he's got a maze of his own now. Oh, he only attacked with the one. I thought he... See, I inspected unstable. See, it's because, remember, Link does damage, or gives life after combat's up. So if you hit 0, you're dead. Let's see there. He should have, if the dib went through and did damage, that would have been life on Chris's end. And he could always use his own maze to untap it after combat. So, I shouldn't say after combat, but the end step of combat. After damage is dealt, use the maze that untaps your creature. So, he should have gained life and did damage. I think that's what we're discussing here, but we're going to lose some life there because we sacked an island, so he should lose 3 life. Because if it's an island, you lose 3. And I think it's loss of life. That's probably what they're checking right now is the text on it. I don't have one directly in hand. Oh no, Serendip does 3 damage to you. So unless the ruling is reworded. Yep, there's an alpha strike on his end. Yep. So yeah, Div's just a giant life gain engine. So he can, I mean, it's still gonna negate the damage of the Dijin to yourself by sacking islands, but I think he's gonna run out of resources. He can't kill Tim, but he's gonna run out of resources, and when you're out of lands, the Dijin dies. So again, all Tim really has to do is take that dib out, and his life engine's done. But Tim has to worry if Chris gets enough unstable mutations, he could kill him. Because right now, if he has 2 in hand, that's 9. If he gets a 3rd unstable mutation, Tim dies before he can gain his life. If he gets through. So it just depends what Chris top decks. He's just got to play the game a little bit. Perfect thing would be if Chris could pull a boomerang. Get boomerang to Maze of Ith. There's another 3 life. This is out of Tim's hands, I think, at the moment. It's another flyer. Now, see, one thing, Tim, I would consider in your sideboard is a beautiful card for your deck that screws your opponent's flyers called Gravity Sphere. It's a great card. Really screws your opponents over. There's Pyrotechnics. Take out the life engine? No, we're leaving the life engine. Man, I would have really stopped that life gain. Another Spirit Link. Oh. Alright. Of course, we're untapping Big Brother. There's more life. I think Tim stabilized. Whether he realizes or not, I'm pretty sure Chris is out of resources. I think we're going to see Chris start losing his ability to play because he doesn't have any lands left. If he had a boomerang, he would have used it on the Tim's maze a long time ago. Like I said, all Tim has to do is just stabilize. So he just has to stop the attack and let Chris run out of resources. There we go. Yep. His life is kind of irrelevant at this point. So Tim's playing a perfect game at the moment. He's keeping Chris from having 3 creatures. Praying to God Chris does draw Strip Mine or a boomerang. But if he keeps sacking he's going to run out of lands. He doesn't have that many left. But again, he doesn't have a boomerang because he would have boomeranged the Maze of Ith before combat step. So there's another big strike. I'll untap it again. He's going to gain another 3 life. It's goofy, but that 1/1 cannot stay on the table. He's got to use the Chain Lightning on that 1/1. Mirror Universe would be fun right now for Tim. My son got one of those tables where you have a bunch of basically tracks that are like blue, yellow, orange. They're like little tubes, and they have balls on them, and you roll them around top of the tubes, and he's got a little wheel on the side and a bunch of different stuff. So if you hear a bunch of noise behind me, that's him right next to me playing with his favorite toy right now. He loves this thing. He's got to kill that flying man. That thing cannot stay. It's gonna kill. It's gonna kill. He's gonna die. Tim will die from a flying man. Oh, Tim, come on, kill that flying man. I don't see you go out like this, buddy. You can't attack. Well, you just gotta stabilize. Let's see what we got. Come on. Kill that flying man. It's either that or kill that dib, but that dib should have been gone a long time ago. What am I looking at? Yeah, gotta kill that flying man. Now, I'm not a betting man, and I would never make this bet, but I'm 99% sure Chris has 2 to 3 unstable mutations in hand. There's another island gone. That must mean he has another island in hand. Now, he has to be close to having no basics left. Oh, there's a card that definitely has to go. That was quick, so that's an answer. Maybe not. Forest, I think. What am I missing? Okay. Well, we're out of blue islands in hand. So there goes the plains. Yeah, there's the brainwashed ape. That's about the perfect card to give. The only other thing right now is if I was right, he can play 2 unstable mutations on that ape right now. Even though he'll lose 2. Next turn, Tim would take some serious damage. Well, there's a detonate. A lot late, but hey. It's at least 1 damage, right? I detonate that ivory tower just in case. Yep. At least it's something. I don't even want to count how much life he's at. Oh my god, 35. That's crazy. Alright, so there's the on tap. Yep. Like I said, I really feel like Tim's going to win this because Chris is going to run out of lands. I'm shocked he doesn't have any more boomerangs. He must be out of lands. If he's going to start dropping unstables right now, he must be out of lands. Yeah, I mean, I could be wrong here, but from what I can read on Chris's body language, he's he's seriously in the tank. The nervous tapping of the cards tells me that he's trying really hard to find an answer. Yep, there's the desperation method there. Now, if he had the extra land, he could have played 2 unstables last turn on a Kurt Ape, and if he had the extra land, he would have played the 3rd land. Got a 6 shot at least from the ape, taking out a whole dice from Tim. But at this point, Chris is going to have an insane amount of life, but he's going to run out of all the resources, and he's going to end up losing. I still think that's the game. I still think about 10 turns ago it would have been Pyrotechnics on the dip. I would have left the 2/4 flyer alone. Well, it's something. There's a -1/-1 or -1/-1 counter. He has to sack a land. So what are we doing here? Oh, he's taking his dip damage. He has to sack. Eventually, he's going to sack his own maze. I cannot believe Chris has not found a way to get rid of that Maze of Ith on Tim's side. Like I said, all Tim has to do is keep his maze alive. But he doesn't play blue or anything, which I just... I mean, strip mine on all the boomerangs and taking all the lands out of your deck. I just cannot. I just can't figure out how he doesn't have a boomerang or something to send Tim's maze back to his hand and kill him. I mean, at this point, he doesn't have any lands to do it anyway, but. Up to 45, crazy amount of life. Next turn, he's forced to sack his maze. And that's huge for Tim. Now see, Chris cannot attack with the Curd Ape, but he can block with it. What was that? Oh, man. There goes the maze. No, I'm pretty sure that's still alive. Or is it at any point you don't have lands? I thought it was on sacrifice. Oh, no. Okay. No lands in play. It doesn't check first. It's just automatic. Alright, now he can play lands freely again. If Chris didn't tap himself out. But at this moment, I would just sit back. Chris has 2 blockers. Tim has 1 maze. If he has a Bloodlust, I'll just detonate for nothing. I'm probably laughing about that. Alright. So if I'm calculating right here, I still think Tim has plenty of Bloodlusts and Mega Damage left. So if he can clear Chris's board, Chris will end up dying. Because the Asp is going to continuously add. Pat, you be careful. Yep, Tip is going to be dead soon. The only thing he'll have left is a Curd Ape. And whatever the Curd Ape blocks, you untap with your maze. So that way the priest will never be able to take another creature. Strip the maze. He If you strip the maze, he can untap his own creature and you can kill some of his creatures. But Chris must have like no lands left. He must be desperate for lands. Chain Lightning, yeah, getting his guy back. Because he definitely has the mana to attack with it. There's activation. Like I say, he only has one creature, so it's pointless what he decides to block. He's just going to block the biggest thing, but it's just going to maze it anyway, so. Yeah. Block the factory, untap the factory, use Penelhaven to pump a 1/1, which is the Asp. Now the Asp has done damage, and Chris must pay on his upkeep or take additional damage. This is where all that life is going to turn into a shorter clock than you realize. Oh my god, another Asp. That's going to hurt big time. Now that should be -5 now. So that's almost dead. I love that Rabid Wombat shirt. That is cool. I wish Wombats were legal in this format, actually. An Enchantress. I'd be making Enchantress Wombats deck in this format. Alright, there's a city. Yep, we're gonna do this whole game again. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Chris was supposed to tap one in his upkeep to the Asp, or take additional damage. And if he took a damage, that damage can stack. He's got 2 Asps. Yep, untap one of them. He's still going to take one, which means he's got to pay the one in his upkeep. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. No Penelhaven? Oh, we're playing a brother. Okay, yep, there we go. Speed the clock up even more. see Travis and I, if you watch some of our other games, it was a little painful to watch, but it was Tax Tower versus my control deck for Texas Old School, and what you learn is land tax is basically annoying. If your opponent plays it right, all it's going to do is delay the inevitable most of the time. If your opponent plays wrong, or you get massive advantage, which can definitely happen with Chris's deck. I mean, he has 5-6 flyers for crying out loud. But if you stabilize, your opponent will win just because you out-resourced yourself. And imagine how much lower Chris's deck is. Actually, you just saw it with the thickness of his thumb there. It's awful low. And that dip is dead next turn. So there is no block. Of course you're going to do the asp. Yep, there's the untap with the asp. I hope they're remembering the asp's additional damage. Because that would have already been, I think, 2 damage more to Chris already. Yep, there's the pump. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, I think. Now remember, the asp does additional damage if Chris does not pay. So there's the dibs in a garbage can. Now this goes back, if you guys remember, I said the play with the unstable mutation on a dib was a last-ditch desperation play. I could tell by him tapping the card it was a desperation play. So all it did was just add life. You're a good boy, Pat Pat. Oh, there's a boomerang. Could have used that like 20 turns ago. Could have boomeranged on main. You could boomerang the maze back to Tim's hand, and he would have killed him a long time ago. Could have unstabled the 5-6 flyer after the boomerang and got in for an additional like 9 damage. Actually 8 damage, but still would have got through and killed him in 2 turns. If he only had a 1. That's a massive hit. I think he's dead next turn. Yep. There's the pay 1. Yep. That's all she wrote here. I'd really see if I can calculate my attack to make sure he dies by asp. If I had to go through all that life and time, I would definitely make it so he died by asp. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep. Oh my god, that's funny. All right, let's go on to another game, guys. This is awesome. I love this game. All right. On to game 3 here. Alright, sorry about that. Alright, let's see here. Are we good to go? Alright, looks like we ended up mulliganing, so I just kind of skipped ahead a little bit for you guys. Let's see what we got. Oh, no Curd Ape or anything, huh? Oh boy. Let's see if Chris got a Flying Man. Nope, land tax. Alright, well now it gives Tim plenty of time to get his Curd Apes and stuff. Well, now Tim can play a green source. Gives him some extra damage going on. So play the green source. Gotta play a forest. Oh, strip mine. Okay. He must be really color screwed here. There's a dip. Oh no. Here, I thought it was a dib. It's an old man. Don't underestimate the old man. I'm betting money on an unstable mutation. And a spirit link. Or death. Would have been better on a dib, but hey, give an old man +6/+6 and attack for 7. That old man is going to kick your booty. And I bet you nobody would see that coming. Now is a dib. Yep. I would have played the dib if I had it in hand, just because you know it is not going to gain 5 mana, so you know you can't kill your creature. That's probably meaningless because you're just going to bounce your dib back to your hand. I don't know where his boomerangs were last game, but there's the untap upkeep. Yeah, I'm expecting a bounce of the dib. Or another dib. He must have unstable mutations in hand. If he had a spirit link, he would have linked his own dib, unless he's going to do it this turn. Because you know Tim is land screwed, which really sucks. I hate when I see that happen. Alright, so with no links and no unstables. I am really shocked. There's a Flying Man. See, that dib is really only net damaging 2. So with the Flying Man, he's only doing 3 damage a turn. It's a very, very slow clock. Now, Tim can still play another land. Well, it's not a green source, but it does make green. So now he can start pumping out weenies, I guess. I'm not sure how he's going to stop all those dibs. He's got to find another spirit link. Alright, there's the 2. There's an unstable. We have another one. Yep, swing this route out. So that's 7. So you gonna bloodlust? No. Don't do it. I don't know what else you have. I don't. Yeah. All right, come on, Tim. You can play a 4th lane. You have strip mine. You strip your own strip mine. So if you have a better land, you can play it. At least I think you can strip your own strip mine. I never tried that before, but you have to tap to use it and target a land, so pretty sure you can use it to kill itself. I actually don't know the answer to that. Yeah, Tim doesn't have flyers. What would be cool in this format? Sounds kind of weird, but web. 4/7 Urnum that can block flying creatures is pretty sweet. Yep, that should be a counter less. So that should have -1/-1 on it. So it should be 6 damage now. There's a 5. Oh no, I thought it was going to be the big guy. Alright, there's a forest. Man, he's going to pull something out of his magic hat here. Gotta have Bloodlust in hand. Oh, it has 2 counters on it. Okay. Man, I'd be attacking with that. I'd be attacking with both my little 1/1s. If I had 2. Oh no, he's not 2 red. Oof. Well, if he does have Pyrotechnics, he could use the elf, the Pyrotechnics. Could take out one of the flyers at least. And then maybe Bloodlust trade another one. I feel like we're gonna see yeah. Do we have a Bloodlust? Pyrotechnics. Okay. Yeah, and we can take out a flyer. Well, Tim should gain a life off of the Spirit Link. There we go. Yep. It didn't pay, so he's got to take the damage. There's a preacher. Now I'm willing to bet Tim is not out of direct damage, because he knows there's control cards there, so. He must not have a chain. See, Tim's dead just between the dib and the Drake. Yep, there's a big little burst of life damage right there. Man, this was a close game. Yep. So there's the untap. The flying man is dead. I thought that thing was already on 2 counters a long time ago. I think that thing dies this turn. So what's going to happen is he's going to take 5 damage total. He's only at 4 life. He can't gain the life from the dib. It's damage in combat. So if he doesn't do something now, that's not going to stop anything. He needs a script sprites or something, but we don't have any 1-drop flyers. You definitely have, if I was Tim, I would look into the, maybe instead of elves, I would play the, I think it's a 2-1 pixie, but it's basically a flyer. Or 1-2 maybe, I can't remember. But basically it's a flying pixie that can make red mana. And if he plays them instead of the elves, it would give him flying creatures to Bloodlust. So Tim, if you're listening, I'd look up that pixie and play that instead of the elves. Just food for thought, but at least it would give you a flyer. That should be it. Yeah. Yep, there's the other Bloodlust. I thought he had 2 Bloodlust, just didn't have the mana. Man, what a close game. That would have been it. That would have been death. That is skin of your teeth, guys. That's a good game. I hope you guys enjoyed that game a lot. Alright, so you guys can pause this here if you like. But I'm leaving this out here for a second because you'll see the decks again. They're kind of just talking themselves through how the match went, what they did and what they didn't do. But actually, you can keep the 2 elves, truthfully. But I don't know how those 1-drop 2/2s are working for you, but I would definitely put the flying pixies in here, so at least I have something that flies. Those are some cool decks, guys. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this. Have a wonderful day, everybody.